Welcome everyone. In today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video, we are discussing Lightning Rod Lord, a Thunder-type light attribute monster with 1800 attack, just 100 defense, and it's level 4. Purely looking at its stats and its level, it is quite the nice monster. For a level 4 monster, or just level 4 and below monster, 1800 attack is very nice to have. As you know, generally, you can get up to 2000 attack without any negative effects, although 2000 attack and even 1900 is generally given to monsters, to normal monsters, although monsters like Thunder King Ryo do exist. Lightning Rod Lord does not have a negative effect. Sort of, but we'll get to that in a second. An 1800 attack as a level 4 monster is nice. It barely has any defensive power, so you'll just place it in attack mode generally. Also because its effect. About its effect, it is quite the interesting one. It's a continuous effect that allows neither player, that includes yourself, to activate spell cards during main phase 1. Now, if your deck doesn't rely on spell cards at all, you can just freely play this, just as a beater and to disrupt your opponents, because they can still activate spell cards during main phase 2. Your normal spell cards, like, I don't know, you need to come up with a normal spell card. It's not that difficult. That card that lets you draw 3 things and end it. I don't know, Sword of Revealing Light. Normal spell card, okay, this is not that difficult, come on. Sword of Revealing Light. They can still activate it, but just during main phase 2, not during main phase 1. Quick play spell cards. They can still be activated during battle phase, end phase, things like that as well, just not during main phase. And it's any spell card, so in that case it's disruptive, but it doesn't stop them. However, to make the optimal plays, generally people would want to play their spell cards during main phase 1 to summon a big monster, stop the opponent from doing something, take out their spells and traps, to be safer when attacking without having to worry about things like Magic Cylinder and Mirror Force. Now, what do you really disrupt? Well, we'll take a look at a few options. Spellbooks, for example, with things like Spellbook of Secrets, they generally combo quite a few spellbook cards and effects off of each other. To get a boost in attack power through Spellbook Library of Crescent? Don't want to say there's 2 libraries. One of them boosts attack by 100 for every spell played after itself. You play like your secrets into master, into power, wisdom, tower, library, whatever you need. But you play a bunch of spell cards, and generally you do that during main phase 1. To get some stuff you need, maybe your Spellbook of Fate to then get rid of an opponent's monster, or just set it. But you definitely disrupt the plays using Lightning Rod Lord. There's more though. Fusion decks. At least ones that use polymerization or something like Gem Knight Fusion to summon themselves. Those kind of decks are also stopped. Well, no, once again, not stopped, but disrupted by Lightning Rod Lord. Because once again, it's generally during main phase 1 that you make most of your plays during your turn. And by having Lightning Rod Lord in the field, you force them to wait until main phase 2. Let's say they don't have a monster in their hand or field that can deal with Lightning Rod Lord. They can fuse into something. They have to wait until main phase 2 to do that with polymerization. They have their monster, but then they can't attack with it into Lightning Rod Lord. Maybe they can use an effect to take it out, but let's say they don't. Then that monster has to survive your entire turn, and then get to their main phase 1 and battle phase to attack into Lightning Rod Lord. So in that sense, you have your entire turn, and then possibly, you have an extra chance of drawing into a Mirror Force to then take out whatever tries to attack into Lightning Rod Lord. Another deck that uses quite a lot of spells is Monarchs. Tenacity of Monarchs, Strike of the Monarchs, Domain of the Monarchs. There are a lot of spells in Monarchs. One of the most common decks at this moment, and Lightning Rod Lord once again disrupts them. I keep forgetting the names of cards, not Tenacity. Pantheism. Pantheism discards a Monarch spell or trap, draws you 2 cards, gives you more chance to draw into an idea, which then gives you an Eidos, which then pretty much gives you an Erebus or an Ether or one of the Mega Monarchs. Let's say you don't have an idea, you're relying on your Pantheism to draw into it, and then make plays with your Ether, Erebus effects, and whatever they summon or get rid of. Generally, you want to attack that turn. Not with Lightning Rot Lord, because most of that combo with your spells isn't going to happen in main phase 1. Sure, you can still play Pantheism to draw in main phase 2, and then summon through your Idea and Eidos and Erebus and still get rid of a card, because Erebus could still get rid of Lightning Rot Lord. You wouldn't want that to happen. And then, in that sense, they did get rid of Lightning Rot Lord through Erebus, but you at least disrupt their main phase 1 plays. I wouldn't say it's as effective against Monarchs as opposed to, let's say, regular polymerization-based decks, but it's certainly possible. Another thing that's disrupted, Clifforts, or pendulum decks in general. Because when a pendulum monster is played into a pendulum zone, it counts as spell activation. Not a normal spell, not a continuous spell, not a field spell, just a spell. Not even normal spell, just spell. And this card states, neither player can activate spell cards during main phase 1. This includes pendulum cards. So if you play them, well, you're not even going to play them, because, well, not in main phase 1 anyway. If you play them, it has to be during main phase 2. So if you want to make your big pendulum play, better wait till main phase 2. You can't attack with your stuff. You can still seize, I suppose, into things like number 101 or your Castell, and Castell can definitely get rid of Lightning Rot Lord. But you just do disrupt their plays. Do note that this is Lightning Rot Lord stops spell card activations, not spell effects. So an already active field spell, such as Domain of the Monarchs, like this is Tenacity, so that I don't really have a good example, but Domain of the Monarchs, if it's already active, or it was activated during a previous turn or main phase 2, then during a later main phase 1, Domain is able to activate its effect to lower a Monarch's level by 2. Because it's just the activation of the spell card itself and not its effect. So, continuous spells, pendulum cards, and field spells, they can activate their effects during main phase 1 if they were activated previously. Clifford Scout, if activated during a main phase 2, then during next turn's main phase 1 is able to pay 800 life points to add a clay card from deck to hand. So that's what a good amount of ideas as to what Lightning Rot Lord disrupts. Now, how can you make extra use of that? Lightning Rot Lord disrupts a lot of things in regards to spells, but traps in some decks are really common. Some decks are not, but some decks they are. So what do you do if you want to stop that? Royal Decree is a certain option. By playing Royal Decree, you negate all other trap effects on the field. And by stopping using Lightning Rot Lord to stop any spell activations during main phase 1, you have quite a safe field. Sure, the opponents can still use things like Twin Twisters and Mystical Space Typhoon to take out Royal Decree during anywhere outside of main phase 1. But it can still be a pretty nice combo together. Stopping a bit of spells and then just completely stopping the traps. Now, if we just don't look at the traps for a moment and we just purely look at spells, there is a continuous spell that most of you probably will never have heard of before that actually combines really well with Lightning Rot Lord to make a full spell card lock. How do you make a full spell card lock? Well, Lightning Rot Lord makes neither player able to activate spell cards during main phase 1. So you want to play this goes for everything but quick play spell cards. Okay? Neither player can activate spell cards during main phase 1. Therefore, they have to play them during main phase 2. Except when Terminal World is on the field. Because Terminal World is something that has to activate during main phase 1, which means you need to activate it before Lightning Rot Lord hits the field, otherwise you can't play Terminal World. So you play Terminal World first, then your Lightning Rot Lord. This one stops main phase 1 spells. Terminal World doesn't stop main phase 2 spells, no, it just stops main phase 2. While this card is on the field, both players skip their main phase 2. So when normally if you don't go from main phase 1 to end phase, you can go through battle phase like most of your turns. You go battle phase, main phase 2, end phase. And with Lightning Rod Lord in the field, you definitely want to play some stuff during main phase 2. Even things with monster effects, yeah, that's not going to happen. Your Terminal World just skips the entirety of main phase 2. As I said, I said a full spell lock. It is a near full spell lock because quick play spells will still work. So the common mystical space and Twin Twister can make a workaround with this by setting it during main phase 1, and then during a later turn, anywhere that isn't in main phase 1 or main phase 2, because they can't be activated in main phase 1 and main phase 2 skipped altogether, anywhere but main phase, they can then activate their quick play spell, Twin Twister's Mystical Space Typhoon, to get rid of Terminal World. And there's some traps like Full House, possibly, and a few other traps that can probably do something similar, but Lightning Rod Lord, Terminal Lord together can stop nearly all spell cards from working. And that's pretty cool. Now let's think of one more thing. One even bigger lock with Lightning Rod Lord. If you have Lightning Rod Lord on the field, neither player can activate spell cards during main phase 1. So, stuff from the hand can still be activated during main phase 2. Well, let's say you don't want that to happen. You play Anti-Spell Fragrance. Both players have to set spell cards before activating them and cannot activate them until their next turn, which is similar to quick play spell cards and trap cards, which always have to, well, quick play spells they don't, but if they are set, the quick play spell cards, along with the traps that have to be set first anyway, you have to wait a turn, at least, until it's the opponent's turn, to be able to activate them. So any spell cards, including quick plays and traps, with Anti-Spell Fragrance on the field, have to be set. Now, what is next? Denko Sekka. As long as you do not control any set spell or trap cards. Remember, these can still be face-up ones. So you can have Pendulum cards, you can have Field cards, you can have Fire Formation Tenki on the field for all I care. As long as you don't control any set ones, neither player can set spell and trap cards, nor activate spell and traps that are set in the field. So any of, let's say, the 3 or 4 spells, let's say a Polymerization, a Mask Change 2, a Solemn Strike, and Mirror Force are set on the field. Yeah? Then Denko Sekka comes in and is like, nope, you're not going to do that. But then someone's like, I want to play something anyway. Well, they can't even set something new on the field. So that works pretty well. So with Lightning Rod Lord, it just stops them from activating them during main phase 1. If you have these two to help you, it can stop a whole lot more. On their own probably as well, really well, but Lightning Rod Lord is certainly an option. Once again, one main thing I do really like, Lightning Rod Lord Terminal World. I don't think I'll try it out in any deck, but I wouldn't mind seeing it at some point, because I do like the idea behind the combination. Right, let's take a look at the tips and trivia that are listed on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki to see if there's anything interesting that we've missed or that we can still talk about and discuss. Can be searched by a bunch of cards. I generally don't really look at this. Delay any spell rely deck hero, for example through Polymerization, Mask Exchange, things like that. Spellbook, any pendulum based deck like Clifford. Before you summon this card, activate Terminal World. Once again, before you summon this card, because otherwise you can't even play Terminal World. You activate it, neither player will be able to use spell cards that need to be activated in the main phase. I like how this is specific because spells that can be activated outside the main phase, the quick play spells, can still be used. Using this card alongside with Denko Sekka Anti-Spell Fragrance will prevent both players from using spell and trap cards altogether. Then you can combo it with Royal Decree to stop the traps, sort of discuss that. But it's not a full lock, as I'd say. Use a terminal for full lockdown of spells. That's already mentioned here, so that's probably a new thing that hasn't been taken out of the page yet. I can do that as well, I guess, but I'm a wiki editor. I just don't do it too much. Trivia. This card is a monster version of Anti-Raigeki. Okay, whose Japanese name is pronounced almost identically. Okay, the names are similar. I was gonna say, because this thing has Anti-Raigeki just stops monsters from being destroyed and destroys the opponent's monsters. It doesn't stop spells. Let's check their names. So Anti-Raigeki, they look really similar. Just look at the card, Anti-Raigeki here, and then Lightning Rod Lord here. I said Lightning Rod Lord here. They look quite similar. Now let's look at their names. Lightning Rod Lord is Hiraijin. This one is Hiraishin. Lightning Rod and Lightning Rod God. Now, this being Lightning Rod definitely makes sense. And then, I suppose it shoots it back. And then Lightning Rod Lord is a Lightning Rod God, but they changed God to Lord in English because God. Religious references. But I can see how they are similar. Not in effects, but name and design wise, they are certainly similar. So maybe they were based off of each other. Like Lightning Rod Lord's design was a bit of based off of Anti-Raigeki. Who knows? That was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video for today. Let me know if you have ever used Lightning Rod Lord, how you've used it, or if after this Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video, you plan to use it. Can you think of any tips and tricks that you can use with Lightning Rod Lord? And then for the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video, leave suggestions for cards to discuss in the comments. I am hereby promising that the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video, unless something really epic and amazing is somehow released or revealed that I really want to talk about, then I'll delay it for one discussion video. But otherwise, I promise that the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video will be me discussing a card that's listed in the comments of this video. See, if you really want me to discuss Kuribo, post it. If you really want me to discuss Rank of Magic, the 7th one, let me know. If there's any other card, whether a weak card or a strong card, a meta card, or just a weird tech card that you've only thrown into one deck once 5 years ago, let me know what you want to see me discuss. And then I'll see you in tomorrow's Daily Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Goodbye.